Hello, everyone, and welcome to Turn Zero Lots presented by the Magic Engineers. So, today we're going to talk about the best and worst of this year. And there's been some really high highs and some really low lows this year. It's been quite amazing. What a dichotomy of a year it's
But
been.
what about the middle? What about the middle? Is it like is it mid? Is it a middle?
It's aggressively mid.
Excellent.
What was your name
First
again?
people.
Let's
Oh.
introduce ourselves.
You first then. If you're asking me my name, you should go first.
Yeah, I am Record Profits and Layoffs.
All right.
Uh,
Yeah. I my name is Doctor. Who the hell do you think I am?
And I'm just a disappointing ending. That's it.
Wah wah.
Want want.
I'm
Little
sorry for your
wah.
girlfriend.
Oof.
Ooh.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Anyways, so today we're just going to talk about kind of like a free-ranging discussion, sort of like how Wizards has been doing this year. They've been kind of winging it with their decision making. So why can't we? No one's watching anyway. So
Yikes.
Oof.
Yikes.
Well, I mean, might as well rip the Band-Aid off right away. You know, like no need to beat around the bush. We can talk about it real quick. You know, hey, Wizards of the Coast, you had record profits. Then you laid off like a bunch of your workers.
Laid off 1,100 people. First of all, my hearts go out to those who are currently looking for work and have lost their jobs. Awful to get
this
laid
is
off.
this is across Hasbro in general. It
Yeah.
isn't necessarily just Wizards, but
Mhm.
it's still like Wizards should have known that they were starting to grow too fast, and now they're doing layoffs before a alleged recession, which I've been calling for years, and now it hasn't come. So I don't think it's coming, guys.
It's like,
I don't know. I'm pretty confident.
they're coming. Don't worry, it's coming.
Arriving.
But yeah, really sucks for those that are currently having to look for work, and hopefully better opportunities are around the corner for them, and this doesn't happen again. Because honestly, I think out of all the divisions, that Wizards of the Coast is their most profitable, isn't it? I would say.
It is the only profitable division.
Yeah. So like, they had to cut somewhere, but they cut probably some of the worst people to cut. Like they cut some of
Yeah,
the
you
people that
have-
helped make Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The literal game of the year, Baldur's Gate. Like a game that's doing game buster numbers for the kind of. I could go into it all day, but the point is that these layoffs are the result of very short-sighted decision making, and I hate to say it's going to get
other people.
I hate to say it, but it's going to get worse. Quite honestly, I could see them doing this again.
Yeah, I believe that you should never punish the profitable division. In fact, like these are the same people that are creating the environment and in fact growing your game, because Baldur's Gate has just introduced D&D and by proxy Magic to a whole new group of people who would never
Yeah.
even touch this game. And-
It's probably their first legitimate hit with the video game crowd.
Yeah, like you aren't a niche game for scholars in the group, or like for people who like psychiatry or psychology or philosophy.
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 But
Knew him well.
but it's just kind of a shame, because you took a very good game, well designed, you managed to make almost I would say a perfect, but a very, very good approximation of the D&D experience in a video game, which is hard to do. It's very, very difficult. They've tried a number of times, and then you cut basically the entire team. And what does that say about you? I think that's important that we all consider. What does that say about the company and Hasbro in general?
Not only
You're willing
that.
to cut
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
that you're willing to cut not only the people who made you money, but the people who will be making you money, even because people will start buying D&D once Magic sales start going down, simply because D&D is a less invasive financial cost. And it's just kind of amazing that you decided to do this.
I will also say that it's not just also the success of Baldur's Gate 3, which made WotC very high profile. It's a lot of their other media projects. I think this is the first year they've really knocked it out of the park in terms of multimedia, because not only you have Baldur's Gate 3, you had the D&D movie, which reportedly did very well. You had, and again, like D&D is getting a lot of traction in general, and
It's getting a lot of mainstream media.
yeah,
Like it's there.
yeah, it's kind of there now. So like Magic isn't far behind, especially with we can talk about that actually, because that transitions into sort of one of the better things that has happened to the game this year. But yeah, WotC is more on the radar than ever before, which is why you got to be really careful when you do things like this. If you do things like this, you shouldn't at all in an ideal world. But if you're going to do something like this, you can't make them so blatantly widespread and thin your workforce so thoroughly to basically they're doing twice the work with 70% of the people.
Yep.
That's what's happening. And that's not sustainable.
You have some very extremely wonderful people over at Wizards. Yeah, like Gavin Verhey, national treasure. We love him so much. But I think he's getting burnt out, and he's the biggest Magic lover I think that exists. He's unapologetically your guy that cares more about the game than anybody else. Former pro player. He's an advocate for the game. He helps the game. He's helped the game grow. He's helped create some of the best sets of all time. And you're basically using him as a whipping boy, and that's very frustrating.
Yeah, it's just bad vibes all around coming from Daddy Hasbro. They've gone for the belt, and it's not good news. So I'm not. Yeah, this is easily the worst thing that's happened on this list by far, and we're just gonna rip the Band-Aid off right now. Like, this is flat out. I'm not saying the game's dying because of this. I don't think it will. But I think that if this kind of thing continues, or imagine if they underperform, what if Magic severely misses its targets because of this? Can you imagine how bad it's going to be then?
Yeah, it's going to become a lot worse case scenario for us. Like
the game actually might not survive it.
There's no saying, because there's a lot of very loyal fans to this game. But if the fans feel jaded to not want to purchase the product because they don't want to support a company that's going to be making cuts like this, then I could see it having affected the bottom line of the quality of the game itself.
I'm going to be real. This could be either a Mirrodin situation or an Urza Saga situation where you nearly killed the game. You drove so many people away, and Wizards, you're not in as good a position as you think, because with some of your lows this year, you're starting to really alienate the people who've been supporting you for years.
I mean, even like Urza Saga and Mirrodin were mostly like, they were just unbalanced. They weren't really bad sets even. They just lacked competitive balance, and the competitive game suffered, and that was how Magic thrived back in its original model. Now they don't really need the competitive scene anymore.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the principle of it still exists, where you have it only takes one set. It only takes one bad quality set. Like, let's say you have a set that's full of print errors. But it's not going to take a lot for people to just start leaving, especially the people that you're getting in now, people who aren't entrenched. So that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. But overall, though, one of the better things about this game, to transition, kind of swerve into something more positive, is that with the success of a lot of the Universes Beyond stuff, as loath as I am to say it, Magic is, at least by sales numbers, maybe not by entrenched players or anything like that, although I suspect there's truth to that too, is that the game is more popular than ever. Even so, Lord of the Rings did what it had to do. It got a lot of people who were fringe on the game into the game.
And now they love it. Now they're now they're already entrenched players. Like, it's like, I will say that it's like, you've done a good job with the people that you've cut. I hate to bring it back to it, but
it's just
it helps that the set's good as well. Yeah. That also helps a lot.
It is a very, very good set.
if the
Yeah.
set wasn't good, it would have been a massive flop in terms of like trying to retain those fans that they're bringing on.
Yeah, but because the design was strong and the gameplay of the set, at least draft wise, was interesting and fun, people stuck around. So well done.
Something
Yep.
that wasn't very well done. Let's transition to. We're just gonna keep hopping back and forth between good and bad at this point because like we have a whole list of these, so we're just gonna keep like just ripping through them. Something that wasn't done very well in terms of like celebrating the popularity of the game was a lack of like a proper full-on celebration of Magic's 30th anniversary.
Yeah, there wasn't really anything about it outside of like one post.
You had the anniversary boosters. You had like one little talking point from Mark Rosewater, and that was basically it. Like it was up to all the other creators to celebrate Magic. It wasn't Wizards that was doing it. It was everyone else.
Yeah, I remember back in like 5 years ago when they did the 25th celebration, they had a whole bunch of stuff come out for it. They had a new Unset, they had Battle Bond, they had Dominaria, they had the disappointment that was Masters 25, and they had this branding, and they made it clear, yeah, this is the 25th anniversary of this game. It has survived this long because we know what we're doing, which they didn't. But hey, you know, they can pretend.
They're going to keep pretending.
Yeah, it's to me it just it bothers me that it's like you can't like maybe do some like you get some master sets this year which were dramatically overcosted, but they were good master sets. But the fact that you didn't do like, hey, let's do 30 years, let's do like let's reprint mystery boosters or something like that to really engage with the history of Magic and be able to basically enjoy the chaos draft from every little spanning of history. This would have been a perfect time to re-release your mystery boosters and that's easy to do. You've made them before. You've had several runs of it. You could have brought them back for 30 and you could have added the newer sets too. It wasn't that hard, guys. It really wasn't.
You see, we already got like in 20th celebration though. We already got mystery boosters. It was called Masters 25, and that didn't play well. So
yeah, but mystery boosters actually did play well. That's the difference.
Okay, yeah, you're
just
right.
Bring back the original mystery boosters. Problem solved. Or expand the sets. I don't know. They
Do something.
Yeah, do something. Anything. Literally.
Explain what the list is properly. Do something.
You can't have that.
Other than the anniversary boosters, that's a scam, and people got just fucking milked for their money for that.
Yeah.
Well, it
actually
undersold dramatically, so it was like less than half of what was expected to be sold was sold,
Yeah.
and then they cut it early because of it.
Imagine being one of the people that bought that, though.
Speaking of imagining who bought what, why don't we talk about Post Malone's greatest purchase of all time?
Oh God. The bane of simultaneously the bane of my existence, but something that Sherry really loves.
So it's not that I love. So let me explain this. This was simultaneously one of the best things that happened to Magic and one of the worst things to Magic. Here, let me explain the best real quick. What they did with a like very collectible thing, they did what they did in Kamigawa with the Hidetsugu, like with the variant colors. I'd rather them take a card and then make a variant of it, but have the card still be available in regular boosters, or like whatever the Lord of the Rings boosters were called. But the fact that they just made a super special edition, I'm all for that. That's awesome. Let there be a search like that. It's like, honestly, it's not a bad way to sell packs. I know it's a little bit of a money making scheme, but it's not making that single card unobtainable. And the One Ring was actually a very good card. It saw a lot of modern play. It saw a lot of legacy play.
Yeah, if it's not clear what we're talking about the 1 of 1 green.
The serialized One Ring.
Yeah.
Yes, the 1 of 1. And also the other variants, the ones that were 500 or 700, whatever the number was for that particular one. I thought that was the way to do it. Like, if you're going to create a collectible, that's the way to do it. But this also says this is the worst thing about Magic. The worst thing about Magic this year is that, like, it was such a cash grab that the fact that there was only one, which is cool that if some random guy does it, they're basically going to become a millionaire overnight because Post Malone was going to buy it. This is also nothing on Post Malone. It's awesome that he got to get the card that he wanted, and he paid for it, and he did something awesome for that whoever got it. But
Yeah, the guy that sold that ring made a lot of money that day.
He's set for life, pretty much, I imagine. Because it sold for like what, 2 million?
Yeah,
around 2 million.
Yeah.
around that. Yeah.
So he's set for life. He knows what he's doing with that money.
Yeah, or he invests it and does the smart thing. But like, I like that's the direction they're going with collectibles. But the fact that you're doing it in an already expensive set and only putting it in the most expensive of expensive boosters, this is like a 4 times, 10 times like as expensive as it should be.
And the fact that it was already on a set that was guaranteed to sell well with the Lord of the Rings branding, you didn't need that card there. If you were to do something like that and say like, you know, I understand why they did it because it has the name appeal and it's got the cool gimmick associated with it. That's all well and good. But the fact is that they didn't need it to sell packs. They really didn't.
They did it this was them putting their proverbial foot on the throat of like you just wanted the money. They wanted to squeeze every inch out of it.
And milking us.
And it was apparently the best selling set of all time. And it's like, I fully believe it's partially due to that One Ring. And not only because of that, I believe it's the One Ring hunt is what helped drive those numbers to that point. Like, it would have been still one of the better selling sets of all time, but not if the One Ring was included. But it was, and now it is the best selling set of all time.
Yeah. I've spoken enough on this one. I don't want to beat this dead horse too much. So while we're getting simultaneously good and bad things, let's move on to just straight up bad. Take a pick of which one we want to do next.
Yeah, you mean my emo here.
So Wizards, you want to explain yourself with epilogue boosters?
Yeah, I demand my money back. How dare you?
I didn't spend money and I demand my money back.
Exactly.
I didn't spend any money and I demand Sherry's money back.
I didn't spend any money, but I demand Eli's money. Okay, listen. After let me make this as clear as I can possibly make this, okay? All right. Aftermath is the worst set that I've ever seen released into a standard environment. Well,
yes.
Quote unquote standard environment.
Terrible. It was bad.
I can't believe that Wizards thought this was acceptable to sell as a product in the year 2023. Like, what?
Yeah.
Wizards, you just say you designed an extra 50 cards. You should have just put in the damn set.
Yeah, fucking
that set was already huge. 50 cards wouldn't have mattered. You've had 400 cards sets before there were even variants. You've done this before. You could have very easily done it again.
I have a hard time struggling to imagine who that product is for. Was it for people who like collecting cards? Well, that can't be it because you can always just buy the singles. Why on earth would you ever go out of your way to buy the packs? Because you only get 8 of them. Is it for the people who like flavor text? No, it isn't, because there's no flavor text on most of the cards, so there's not even a story to follow. Is it for people who are shills and want? Okay, maybe it is for those people, actually. Yeah.
It's for the people that want planeswalkers.
It's for maybe it's for no, because you can buy them as singles. I don't get this.
I love how one card was solely driving the sales of that fucking booster.
Oh my god, it was horrible.
Nissa was the only one pushing that because she's real, and she wasn't even that powerful. She was like a Lotus Cobra with extra steps.
Yeah,
just. Oh my god, I've never felt like, okay, there are sets that I'm ambivalent about. There are sets that I dislike. There are sets that I even hate a little bit. This one drove me up a wall. I've never had a set make me this angry just by concept, let alone by execution.
Listen, there was a way for you to do this. I'm gonna be completely honest, and I will describe the way that this could have worked.
Any way but
Number-
this. That's all you need. That's all you need right there.
Number one, you could have done is you could have taken from the last 3 sets a part of this mini arc, taken some of the best cards out of there, thrown it into this set, and done like an actual better version of what you tried to do with double feature. But I'm not going to. That was last year's problem. That was an atrocious. But you could have made and then added cards to the environment, and then that would have been kind of cool. It's like a mixture of master sets, a mixture of a new set, and you're still getting reprints of cards that are already in standard. So you're not necessarily disenfranchising the people that are collecting. But instead, you try to sell something for $120 that ended up being sold for $50, and people still can't get rid of them. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm not saying I bought any. What I'm saying is, when I went to the game store, 2 different game stores last weekend, I saw Epilogue booster boxes completely sealed, sitting there.
Yeah, because you can't play them. You can't pull them. There's nothing valuable in those packs. You can't play with them. What's the point?
Yeah, it's like, what's the point of even trying to crack anything from it? You're not going to get like any of your money back. The cards you're getting are basically useless unless you're trying to find some jank way to make them work. Like,
well, the biggest problem is that it's because it's only 50 cards. It's also, I want to say, collation or whatever, how they ever randomize the card is so bad that you could very well end up with 3 of the same cards in the same pack. Not even like different variants. It's
like,
really bad. Like,
it's just like double feature.
Yeah. No,
Is
this
it
is
double feature?
no. You can play double feature. You can't play this.
Yeah, you can't.
Listen, double feature at least grayscale the art.
Grayscale VR. Yeah, that's a real bonus.
They just turned on the gray filter in Photoshop and said, "Yep, it's good." But have more effort put into it than this set. Oh my god!
Listen, if you're being compared to double feature and we're praising double feature, that's your problem. That's not my problem. That's your
You done
problem.
messed up. Man, I could go on all day about how bad March of the Machines Aftermath is. But I could also go on all day about how great March of the Machines as a set is.
Oh,
It is
What
a
a fun set.
It is a
What a
good set. I like that set. The draft environment is fun. It's dynamic. It's interesting.
Multicolored, it's fun.
Oh,
There's
it's
so much to
multicolored.
do.
Oh, yeah. If you saw the cons review, you would understand I'm a sucker for a good 3-color draft environment. And
it's really good.
yeah, it's good. It's really good. I had a lot of fun. On it.
I think that it's like also some of the most unique card design. I thought the matchups were going to be a disaster. I thought that was going to actually kill the game personally
Same.
for a little while. I was very nervous about that.
Man, we keep thinking new things are just gonna kill the game out of nowhere, huh?
I think we're more worried about it killing standard for a little bit.
Oh well, standard set already.
Yeah,
And what was most surprising about this is it was fairly balanced.
Yes, it was.
I not even just draft environment. What was adding to the standard environment? What was adding to all the eternal formats? It added some really cool commanders. I have a Shalai and Harlar deck that I absolutely love that some people don't like to play against because it's too quick. But
Go turbo.
But it's like you created so many like fun ways and basically kind of fixing old cards that were kind of questionable and making them in like giving them like the kind of like the buddy cop duo, the stern guy and then the funny guy, and then you made it work. And then you actually worked into the story too. You actually wrote stories about some of these. You would have to confirm with me, but there were some of them that actually.
Some of them ended up with like actual story points in the actual story itself. A lot of them did not, but that's neither here nor there. The ones that did get story elements were very good.
Yeah, and it's like I wasn't expecting all of them to have that because there will be things that are just missed, but I do really like the effort that they did into the actual card design of Mark of the Machines, and honestly, All Will Be One too. I know David has a gripe about the draft environment of All Will Be One.
I have the gripe with the draft environment as well.
Yeah, my gripe is more with the limited environment than the draft environment.
Oh, you mean turbo? Or sorry, Uber Turbo. And
What are
then
you
Uber-
talking
Uber
about?
Turbo?
What are you talking about? Obi-Wan is like the slowest, plottingest, most boring limited I've ever played in my life.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not true. I played worse, but this one's not good. Like,
It's basically like if you're not swinging for face, you're not winning. But if you swing for face, you're probably going to lose.
yeah, it's like
Because there's too many control elements in the set itself, as well as too many aggressive elements. So like you either lean too hard one way, or you don't lean enough, and you just end up getting blown out.
the death of mid-range has ultimately impacted the set very poorly. I didn't like the fixing very much. There's decent fixing, but it's not very dynamic or interesting.
It's barely existent, to be fair.
Yeah, like if you see the cards, you just play them. You don't have any choices to make. There's no interesting deck building decisions to make there. You just, it's as bog standard, dull as you get.
The crappiest
Well, that's why
part
it's
is-
turbo. You don't have to think about it. You're just like, oh, this is a 3-cost play. Makes it easy.
The crappiest part is that if somebody pulled the new Elish Norn from that set, not Elish Norn from the set following that, but that Elish Norn,
You lose.
you're going to guaranteed to lose. Like you could not win against that Elish Norn if it got on the battlefield, regardless of like how built around it the deck was, because
Yeah.
it was just an oppressive effect.
And I mean, there's a lot of draft environments that kind of have that happen to it, where there's just like 2 or 3 cards that just take over the format.
Yeah.
But Elish Norn stood out as particularly egregious. And when I played it in my LGS, 5 separate people pulled it. And I faced off against 3 of them.
Yeah,
I'm stunned I stole a match off them, I'll be honest.
I did a home game against in a draft environment, and 2 of the people got Elish Norns, and those 2 were in the finals, like because we did like a tournament style. The funniest part was is that they were sitting next to each other, and there was 2 Elish Norns in one pack.
What?
Oh.
Yeah. There
Oh,
was
In
one-
a draft
there was-
pack.
In a draft pack, there were 2
In a
Elish
draft
Norns.
pack.
It was one of the like special art forms. I think I don't know which one it was because there's like 12 different versions of that Elish Norn, and then there was the regular version. And we were just like, how I don't know how we gonna get around this, guys. Like, what do we even do? Because like when he
I will
cracked
s-
that
I
pack,
will
he's
say
like,
the art
I'd
for
take these
those-
both if I could.
Dude, can we draft 2 for the first one?
Yeah, just the art though. Art was good. I liked the art. It was really sick.
I like the Phyrexian art. It was awesome.
I
Mhm.
don't know which one you're talking about. There's so many.
All of them. I loved them.
Okay. on the topic of Phyrexians, March of Machines, all will be one. The story was a bit lacking at the end there for March of the Machine, because I felt like there was a good build up to this point throughout the sets from this year, just kind of like showing like small little hints that there was going to be an invasion soon. All of the one happens, and it's like super explosive. Like, oh shit just goes wrong at the very end. The heroes are going to lose, and it feels like, okay, we need a set here to like show the battles happening, and then we need another set after that to show the conclusion of this battle. But all we got was the set concluding the battle.
And then
Get-
Aftermath.
And we didn't get the in between. We didn't get like the rising action. All we got was the beginning of the rising action, the
And
climax,
then the falling action.
and then no falling action immediately over, showing us the aftermath.
Which wasn't really anything at all. So
Yeah, like it feels like they kind of whiffed on the ending of the the Phyrexian arc, because I don't know if they're ever going to come back. We never know. Like they let
I think it's
Yeah.
very plausible they will.
It's a good moneymaker.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I will say that it's like it also felt like I understand the universe had to repair itself, but I feel like they kind of cheaped out on how people got desparked. I would have much rather seen them develop the story of basically people doing these heroic things, and to do this heroic thing, they had to expend all of their magic,
Yeah.
and then that desparks them. But instead, it's like, oh, we just don't want planeswalkers anymore. So
Yeah.
we're gonna say the universe needs to be repaired before you get planeswalkers again. Which
Yeah,
you've
it's like,
basically
we're just gonna-
created.
we're gonna say we created like a bunch of holes in space and time and all the different universes and stuff like that, and the whole universe is so bad at everyone that if you have a Planeswalker Spark, you don't have one anymore. Sorry,
Ex-
except for like
except a
3
couple
of you.
Which honestly, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because
Yeah,
you're basically going back to the age of where planeswalkers are gods, which is what we actually saw in Brothers War, where mentioned planeswalkers were just like, oh my god, they're double sided. They have so many different things. They meld together,
yeah.
and then you went and now you see the planeswalkers now, and they're like kind of lame. Like, how does Ashiok of all people like?
I don't know how they get to keep a Spark. I don't know how they even exist. They're a nightmare.
Didn't they lose all of their gods?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know
Probably, yeah.
how they're alive. It doesn't make any sense. To be fair, I didn't really. This is like a mark against me. I didn't really read the story for the Wilds of Eldraine. I only saw like a synopsis of it. Kind of disappointed by that.
I mean, I also think this actually can be in the worst too. I think what we experienced, especially us three, is that we got really burnt out on Magic this year. Not
Yeah.
because of making this podcast, because this was the fun part. What we got burned out in is just like realizing that like we would go to work, and then when we come back, 3 sets were released, or we found out about 3 more sets that are happening this year, and I'm like, where is this all coming from?
Yeah.
I'm not spending my money. I worked too hard with this.
Yeah.
But I will say something that was good though. Overall, the actual sets that did come out for standard, the actual standard sets, not the supplemental sets. We don't talk about those. Like Dominaria United, Brothers War, Fire Excel, Obi-Wan, March of the Machine, Aftermath. We don't talk about Aftermath, but the Wilds of Eldraine and the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, those sets were actually pretty decent, except for
Like,
Aftermath. But
I would say this is as good, if not, depending on your perspective. I could see people arguing that this year was better for main sets than it was last year, and last year was pretty darn good because you had the return of Kamigawa and the introduction of a really cool place in New Capenna. But I would say like the main sets, they hit them like out of the park this year. Like they went solid 4 for 4. There wasn't a disappointment because there was not a 5th thing that was involved.
Nope, definitely no 5th thing that happened. There were
Yep,
only
we
4
don't-
sets, and they were mostly very good.
And only 4 sets went to standard. There was not a short 5th set that came out right after the second one.
I don't know what you're
Totally
talking.
didn't-
I don't know why you're even referencing this non-existent set, dude. You should probably knock it off.
Mhm. Yeah, there's no 5th set. We don't talk about that. Yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot in Lost Caverns of Ixalan, but I have noticed that some of those cards are getting some talking points around them now. So
The design is very interesting, and the return of dinosaurs as a standard is a good feeling.
it's always a good feeling when big dinos come out.
Especially if they're Colossal Dreadmaw.
Yes.
Or super colossal Dreadmaw now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But,
That's the thing.
speaking on sets that we don't talk about, but we have to talk about, how about you talk about it, Doctor? Who the fuck are you?
All right. Here we are. So they came out with some commander decks for featuring the BBC's favorite long-running science fiction television program. And-
British News Network. Yeah,
yeah,
their
those-
news channel.
Yeah, those guys. I can't stand these cards. At least as far as the art goes and as far as the idea of it, I kind of hate it.
The designs for the cards, though, the actual gameplay are pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is. And that's part of why I'm angry about it, is because like, why can't you do this with normal like, I get why you would do something like this for Lord of the Rings, because at least Lord of the Rings is pretty evergreen and ingrained in pop culture. I don't know anybody who's seen any Doctor Who in the last like 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, I'm not saying the show's dead, but I am saying that I don't know anybody who's seen it. And I know a lot of people.
Yeah, I think the only person that knows like even a relative amount of what's going on right now in it, only because I think he doesn't watch it like actively, is Casey.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he hasn't like watched it in years. I don't think he watches the
Yeah,
old stuff.
I think he just knows the things that are happening around the show and just get more and more disappointed by the fact that it exists still.
Yeah, just very frustrating to see that kind of thing happen. I hear it did well, so I guess I guess maybe I'm wrong on this one, but from a like commercial / design perspective, I find it very disappointing that these cards are relegated to the Universes Beyond treatment. I think this is something that should be in standard Magic. I don't think any of them are really that far fetched as to demand they stay in that IP.
I still don't know how they're going to transition any of these cards into a regular like Magic card.
Yeah,
I was really disappointed that the River Song, which is one of the coolest cards on there because it's where you draw from the bottom of your deck. I'm like, this is such a cool card. Why does this have to be printed on?
why does this have to be printed with a Doctor Who skin?
Yeah, it's because it's like, this is a really cool design that they're not tapping into. And again, I will say, Wizards, the best thing you did here is design the Magic cards. When you're actually just designing cards, you're
pretty good.
pretty high there.
You're pretty good.
You're doing pretty well this year.
Yeah.
like in terms of like, you had very, very few like true misses this year in terms of your actual card design. And you weren't like trying to do things that would just absolutely destroy the game. You tried destroying the game a little bit, but that's always what happens.
Hey, that's the executives, okay? I can't blame the design team for that.
Yeah, exactly.
But to the surprise of no one, Magic Arena is still one of the worst things that happened.
5 years running, baby. I felt this for 5 years running. Okay, allow me to ride this high horse all the way back to Saratoga.
Ahead,
All right, so, back in 2018.
Okay, the professor.
No, fuck you. Fuck you. Magic Arena happened in 2018, and ever since then, it came out behind the curve of any other online digital card game that existed at that point, and I'm including Artifact in that, so that's how you know it's bad. And nowadays, people are catching on to how to do proper free-to-play models in these kinds of games. Like, for instance, Legends of Runeterra has a fantastic free-to-play model. And I hate Riot Games. I hate them with a passion. But I will admit that is a good card game. As much as I'm loath to say it. So, but they get it, though. They understand, okay, well, we don't have to charge you uber amounts of money. We can, you can pay if you want, but you can actually get most of the cards that you need to play the game properly by playing the game. Even Hearthstone does better than this, because at least with Hearthstone, you can craft cards. You can, you can dust ones that already exist that you have spares of in order to add to your pool of things you can craft with. And Magic, what do you have? You don't have any of that. You just have cards.
Buy cards directly.
You can't even buy cards directly. You have to get wild cards, which are just this arcane system that doesn't make sense because you have to get a certain number of packs to even get a wild card in rare. God forbid you get it in mythic. Like, oh,
not to mention you already have a decent model with a card economy with Magic the Gathering Online, which surprisingly is still alive. I'm glad it's still alive. The reason, like, I'm gonna be completely real with you. I love the idea of Magic the Gathering Online because you can actually take your digital cards and turn them into actual cards still, which is really awesome. But in principle, Arena should have killed this by now. It should have been even cheaper for them to run, so they didn't even have to trade in actual cards for a full set. Like, but your ineptitude of Arena has just continued to make Magic the Gathering Online live and have actually a very healthy community. It's got a good network. I'm not advocating against Magic the Gathering Online. I'm saying that's how badly Arena is being run.
So
is that you have an archaic system that runs better, has a better card economy, and a worse UI.
Much worse.
But people like playing it over Arena.
I also want to call out the fact, and this is maybe me, again, being on a different tangent altogether, but Magic Arena has contributed, in my opinion at least, has contributed to the slow decaying death of Standard, is contributed to the slow decaying death of the competitive scene. Actually, no, I'm certain it contributed to it. Because if Magic Arena as a game doesn't really suit the competitive mindset very well because it's so limited in options. And the fact that they switched to it for a lot of their standard events is something I will never understand. And I still don't like it. I never liked it, and I still don't. And the general fact of the matter is the game just has not improved in any substantial way since it came out in 2018. They've added features, they fixed bugs, they've done this, that, and there. But at the end of the day, Magic Arena is just a pit to throw your money. You can do that on Magic Online, and you'll get a much better experience because you can actually get value out of the money you throw into it.
It's like there's a reason there's actually like tick values for these cards on there. It's because they're actually worth something. It's the only place you can buy a Black Lotus for under 300 grand. That's
What a
joke.
deal.
That's a joke.
That's a low price.
But
You know, it's not killing the standard. Is them lengthening the rotation of standard, making it 3 years instead of 2. Pretty cool, Wizards. Good job. You made the introductory level a little bit better. That people's cards just aren't going to disappear.
yeah, I like it.
Cards are going to be playable for longer.
There's going to be more
That's on to
combos.
you.
It's going to be more broken than ever before.
I mean,
Yeah, but it also
it's
means
in
that they
standard
kind of
right
have to
now.
get they have to continue printing the cards that are in standard. That means
Yes.
that those boxes are going to. It means initially they're not going to hold very much value with those cards, but once they're out, they're going to hold a lot of value.
Are you saying that we can draft March of the Machines for 3 more years? Because I'm there for it.
Probably.
Excellent.
I actually haven't drafted March of the Machines. I've only heard about it.
Oh,
I
you
was
should-
moving. I was saving up to move when March of the Machines came out.
Is Dominaria United still in standard at this point? I'd say it is. Yeah.
I believe so,
I believe
yeah.
So
Yeah. Shieldred is still $80.
Yeah. Maybe that's the downside is that the cards that are ridiculously expensive are just going to hold their value too long. I don't know.
Because it's not banned in standard yet. It's still legal. so-
Miraculously.
I will say it was likely because Dominaria United came out before they announced the extension of rotation, so they didn't necessarily have to keep the printers going on those ones.
Right.
It's one of those things that they did something kind of tricky where they basically made the cards that came out after like the fall of 2022. Basically, those are going to be super valuable cards. Like that time between when they announced it and that time, those cards are going to be a lot more valuable just because they're going to be in standard a lot longer than they should have been, and the print runs were not nearly long enough.
Oh, jeez. Wizards, you've
Scummy.
done it again.
Very scummy.
Super suspicious. All right. Well, there's that. Yeah, that's pretty good. What else do we have to talk about? I'm sure we've got more.
Magic is dead.
Magic is dead. That is the worst thing to happen to Magic the Gathering this year. Magic has died.
Hey, but
Also-
there's good
also-
things too.
Also,
Magic has
is dead.
died. No,
Magic's
it doesn't
dead.
matter anymore.
Magic's dead. Let's go.
No, I think that's like one of our best bets from this year. I think that's kind of like a good note to end on because you started saying it as a joke, David, but yeah, it just started kind of feeling more and more real the more the year went on.
the best jokes always have an element of the truth to them, my friend. Before we close off, I do want to throw one more prompt at you guys. So, in your opinion, out of all the things we've discussed, what is your personal best and your personal worst?
Ooh,
I'll retort that and I'll go to you first because you seem to have that answer ready.
Fair enough. So, the best thing that happened this year overall is that card design is trending correctly, which is a good thing, which just means people are going to stick in the game. Easily the worst thing, if we're not counting the layoffs, because I think we can all agree that's the worst, is Aftermath was a disaster and should never have been printed and was a mistake and should be burned. Don't even buy it. Steal it and then burn it.
Steal it, check and see if there's an Nissa in there, then burn it.
Okay, yeah, do that.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Mine's very, very similar. WotC layoffs are truly the worst.
Yep.
But I would say the overall just card design of just that there's so many more options now for really weird commanders, really unique commanders is like kind of at all-time high. and I can always go for that. Play weird commanders, guys, and this year encouraged that a lot.
Yeah, stop
Yeah.
playing your Atraxas and your Yurikos and your all your broken commanders. Play weird
Your
stuff.
other
Like-
Atraxa, your
Play the other Atraxa.
yeah, play the other Atraxa. Play Sharky. Play other shit like that. Get weird.
Get funky. You got a lot of options now. I guess for me, it's probably the fact that like most of the main sets we can talk about were pretty good. Like there wasn't any like huge complaints about the actual quality of the cards themselves. It was just like certain environments that they were in. So like draft environments were bad, but the actual cards that we were given were pretty good. In terms of like worth, you know me guys, I'm a big story guy. I like the story of Magic. So obviously like the end of the Phyrexian invasion is just like my biggest like salt of this year for me. Is how like
That's,
I don't know
that's
how
like
they
the biggest disappointment of this year. It's not necessarily the worst.
Yeah, because the worst is definitely Aftermath. I don't,
for sure.
barring the layoffs, of
But
course.
this is my personal worst. It's
Sure.
barring the layoffs, this is my personal worst, and like it's just really bad that they did that and they ended it that way. Technically, Aftermath is wrapped up into that, so like if you want to count that I'm still considering Aftermath one of the worst. There you go.
If you hear it first, folks, official confirmation that Aftermath is literally the worst product ever released. I give this year a 1 ring out of 10.
I give this year Doctor Who Commanders out of 10.
I give this year a happy 1 year anniversary, you guys, out of 10.
We did survive 1 year.
We survived 1 year, and our
Yeah, the
hiatus nearly killed us.
I think playing more Magic is going to kill me at this rate.
We shall build again.
Yeah, we shall build again. But I really appreciate doing this with you guys. Hopefully, we'll have a couple more years of this until we either grow old together or we just stop playing this game forever and we transition to Lorcana.
What are you talking about? We're obviously a One Piece trading card game podcast.
We're gonna transition into board games. That's what we're gonna do.
Oh, I like that better, actually.
Yeah, I did just send Eli an expansion to what was that? That's not a
Eldritch
Call
Horror.
of Cthulhu. Eldritch Horror. It's the one about in Antarctica, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Nice. Yeah,
Finally
I've got
something other than Fight Cthulhu.
I've got a fun little Gloomhaven thing that I've purchased that I can't wait for you guys to witness.
Did you get an expansion?
I did not get an expansion. The expansions for that game are either buying the $200 base game or the $250 sequel. Both are a no right now, Chief.
Yeah.
For now.
For now.
I'm not
Anyway.
ruling it out in the future.
Remember, Magic is dead.
Magic is dead.
Like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Lost Turtles.
Twitter's about to die.
Twitter's about to die, but don't worry. So
We'll go back to MySpace. You'll find us there.
Yeah. Find us on Tumblr.
I was just about to say that.
Hey, no. The real ones are going to catch us here on DeviantArt.
Oh.
Oh, and our special releases on Pornhub.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget to catch us on Wattpad either.
Or Mastodon or Substack.
Actually, don't we have a Letterboxd? I'm pretty sure I have a Letterboxd at this point.
We might.
Yeah. All right. Thank y'all for
Goodbye.
watching.